So update 43.0 added a new hero, which is Rosalia the jetpack monkey, and taking a quick glance around YouTube, Reddit, Discord, you'll notice that Rosalia does not have the best public opinion. So as a fairly decent player in this game, I decided to just run a bunch of expert Chimps games with Rosalia and some easier maps too, and comparing strategies and see what she can do. And now I'm going to give my input on, is Rosalia really bad, or is it simply that people just don't understand her and they are using her in the wrong way? So as a comparison for this video, I'm going to be looking at her with a bunch of pros and cons and a few black borders. So let's just jump right into it and look at Rosalia with a brief overview. So starting out, she is the jetpack monkey, which is pretty cool, very fun to play with, and she has some pretty important levels. The first one is going to be level 5. This is where her two weapons get greatly improved. The next is going to be level 7, which will allow her to move everywhere and get a good ability. And then level 13, which is where the big power spike is, and Rosalia can do a bunch of damage. So the first pro is that there are 2 big power spikes, and this will allow her to do some damage. But the con is that they're spread out, and unlike other heroes where they rapidly get a little bit better, you might have some lacking areas in the game. So this is level 5, where Rosalia's will now do more damage, a lot more damage with the grenade and the laser attack. And another con that you'll quickly see here is that you can't really move her around everywhere until level 7, but then another pro is that once you get level 7, she literally can just go everywhere, including on top of the track, which is a huge thing that a lot of heroes don't offer. Another thing that you might notice is that the pad that she takes is really, really big, which can be an issue on some maps. So moving on, we'll quickly see her level 13 improved grenade. The laser also gets big improvements here too, but you're also going to be seeing another weakness, which is both of the weapons have a crucial weakness, and this is a pretty big con, because even when you're switching them around, you can ignore one of them by doing that, but then you just get another one in another sense. So I'm going to be looking at a black border run here on Peninsula Chimps. It's not the easiest of maps, not the hardest of maps either, and it showcases some of her strengths and some of her weaknesses. So let's just take a look. The first thing that we're going to be noticing is that she's going to take up a lot of space, and as space is limited on this map, that is a huge issue. So that helipad's going to be taking up all of that, and we can't really get much support towers and towers around her until a bit later on. Another thing is that she won't get camo, so I'm going to have to get something to cover camo for the early game. In this case, I'm just going to be grabbing a spike. We have Rosalia set on the grenade now, so she can hit the leads, which is very nice, and she got the improvement, so now her grenade is going to pierce through things. But another thing that isn't being showcased on this map is that she's weak on multi-lane maps. The way that she operates and her level 7 ability in general just cannot work on multi-lane maps. It's just kind of like Pursuit on Bloody Puddles, if you know what I'm talking about, where Rosalia is just going to be wandering in the middle of the map doing pretty much nothing. Another con that you'll see is that the Ace and Heli buff is really weak. It's only a 5% price reduction, which just is not good at all. For some support capabilities, I'd be expecting something way better, especially compared to other heroes. And on this map, I wasn't able to get it, but that's fine. So a pro that we'll see here is that the round 40 is really easy, which is actually nice. I messed it up a little bit and used the level 3 ability a little bit too early. It's more optimal to have that stun the ceramics inside so they don't go anywhere, and it just takes out the ceramics in general. But you can use the level 7, so Rosalia is going to be tracking the mob the whole time, and the level 3 takes out those insides. It's really nice, really effective. That's just a nice thing, because a lot of heroes don't really do that. And the other thing, another pro, is that there's a lot of really easy and effective abilities, and the different weapons can fit different defenses. So let's take a look at that by comparing her to Churchill, which I guess is the most similar hero. So we're going to be seeing that just on round 64 as a damage test, Churchill will do fairly well. And then let's test him out on 98 with the appropriate level and basic support that you'd be expecting. So like the MIB, overclock, and just a tier 3 alch buff. And Churchill also does pretty well here. Not too much, not too little, expectable for a damage hero. But let's take a look at Rosalia in this case now. So Rosalia is very unique because Rosalia has two weapon settings. You can either do the grenade or the laser, and it's very simple how it operates. So we're going to see when Rosalia is set to the grenade, things are not going to go well here on round 64 with these mobs and fortified mobs. But when we set her to the laser, everything works out pretty well. This could be considered a pro and a con. It's a con that you have to do some micro, but the micro is really easy. It's quite literally laser, single target, grenade, multi-target. This is no Corvus where we're going to have to be using a ton of panels to squeeze out and optimize the damage. It's literally just you need single target damage or AoE area of effect. Click laser or grenade to pick which one. So you can use this in combination with a bit of micro. You can get a bit more optimized with this, where I can have the laser to take out some of these ZOMGs and then switch over to grenade, and that will do pretty well. Fairly decent, pretty much like about the same as Churchill you'd expect, but you do need to keep in mind that with a little bit of low skill micro, you can get some good damage. Otherwise, Rosalia is just going to be lackluster in damage if you aren't doing this little bit of micro. And another con that you'll see is in the late game, Rosalia is just generally outclassed, and it's really the support. The support just isn't there. And when you're playing Chimps mode on harder maps, having the support in a hero really is key. Of course, there are definitely a lot of strategies that you can do with damage heroes, but when it comes down to it, generally the best ones are with heroes that will give some support or some support and some damage. And Rosalia missing out on this is not that good, especially because synergies aren't hard to come up with. But on this Peninsula Black Border, Rosalia did 430,000 damage, which is fairly alright. Not the greatest, not the worst, but there definitely can be better ways around doing this Black Border. On harder maps, we're going to need to be getting synergy and strategy. It's not going to be the greatest, and another con is that on other modes like boss and race, there isn't really anything Rosalia has to offer. So now let's take a look just on an easier map, an example where you might find Rosalia fitting in a little bit better, not as much to worry about, and things just generally are pretty easier. So I'm going to get something to start out, and I'm just going to grab Rosalia right down there, and we're going to be in for a fairly nice and fairly easy Black Border on stream bed with this. I'm going to need to get something to deal with these camos, so I'll just grab crossbow, and I'll have my druid up there, and then we can switch Rosalia to either the laser or grenade, depending on which aspect of the game. For the early game, I had Rosalia on laser, but once I get this ace up to ODS, my single target damage is very, very good, so I'll be putting Rosalia then to the grenade to deal with some of the balloons that come in. So I'm just going to have my discounts, my villages, get Rosalia there. They're going to be in range of Rosalia just for the 5% discount. Again, wish it was a little bit better, but I guess we'll have to take what we get. And then I'm going to get some alch buffs, and I'll just be going for a Sky Shredder early, and then the eventual goal is to get my Spirit of the Forest and some support for Rosalia. So there we go. We got a really nice, really easy round 40 with just those abilities. The abilities will take things out in a clutch very well. Very nice, very easy. And then I will see here, this is a pretty neat pro for some of these easier maps. The small discount can make getting a Sky Shredder or Apache Prime before really hard rounds easy. So round 75 is coming up, and if I did not have Rosalia, this guy would be more expensive, and I might have died on round 75. But now that I have this discount, I can get it before round 75 very easily. Nothing to worry about. I have my villages up, I have my druid up, and we can still get the Sky Shredder before round 75. From there, the rest of the game is going to be very easy. I'll get my Spirit of the Forest, I'll get some support, and then Rosalia will just clean up and first strike the bad on round 100. So on some easier maps, you might find Rosalia being very more chill in a way. The Black Borders will just come easier, and everything's pretty straightforward and just a fun time in general. However, a big con is that level 20 is pretty much useless. Like, I don't really see any reason why this would be good. Now, comparing to other heroes, Churchill level 20 absolute powerhouse. Energizer Churchill, very cool, very fun strategy that you can use, destroys everything, and not to mention Psi level 20, which quite literally destroys anything that isn't a bad when you use the ability. So Psi Energizer, Churchill Energizer, very cool strats. But what if we take a look at Rosalia Energizer and get a level 20 Rosalia and Chimps? That just means we get a discounted anti-balloon, so we're spending more money to get an anti-balloon. And like, what even is the point of this? There really isn't any point. So overall rating, I'm going to give Rosalia a C+. But one thing that I want to say is that I really do like Rosalia, and I definitely am going to be using Rosalia more. I think she has some fun uses. The ability to switch between the weapons makes it very versatile and easy to put in some things, but in some areas she is lacking. So that is one thing to note. I would disagree and say Rosalia is good, but I would not say Rosalia is a great hero to pick. So if you want a really strong and really powerful hero, maybe you should skip Rosalia. However, for a fun, cool, and casual hero, Rosalia would definitely be an awesome pick. And for the buffs that I would consider, I would not change the damage. I think the damage is fine. It's usable and has some good aspects to it, but the Heli and Ace discounts could be ramped up to 10% and add a 10% attack speed to those towers as well, and then rework level 20 in some way. I think that would make Rosalia very balanced, very fun to use, and I don't know how that rework would happen, but comment below, what do you think about Rosalia? Thanks for watching. If you want to help out the channel, you can check out these new videos, like and subscribe for more content, support the channel by becoming a member, and joining the Discord to chat with the community. Bye!